racist. Guys, we are one of the most racist groups. Out of all the races, black people really do take the...
Sometimes I have to sit with myself and understand that some moments aren't teachable. They're reckoning. There are many ways to amplify the voices of a people that are marginalized by defending their integrity, without generalizing an entire collective of black people based off of one person whose mouth allows them to regurgitate nonsense because of their own brain malfunction. The sentence, black people are the most racist, in defense of colored people based off of a group of people who practice on a daily basis anti-intellectualism, is not advocacy. It's cognitive dissonance. That's not defending colored people. That is just merely feeding the machine that chewed us up for centuries. It's basically validating the lie that black pain, just like colored pain, is self-inflicted. That we're not victims, we're villains. That we basically deserve the hate, that we bring it on ourselves. Advocacy does not need a scapegoat. Advocacy does not need a scapegoat. You can defend colored people without turning blackness into a curse. Basically, instead of challenging the real problem, the racism that divides us, the system that categorizes us, you choose to co-sign it, join hands with it, echo it in your own voice. I don't know, to me, I don't see that as standing up for colored people. I see it as selling black people for an applause and calling it balance. I feel very uncomfortable when people advocate, but in the same breath, not break the stereotype, instead reinforce it. I don't see it healing anything. I see it as putting a band-aid on a gushing wound. I had to go and recollect my thoughts real quick. First slave trade, Trans-Afro-Asian slave trade, Indian Ocean slave trade, Arab-Islam slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, Sub-Saharan slave trade, present slave trade, Libyan slave trade active as we speak, colonization, apartheid, Jim Crow, segregation. Are we still talking about the same black people? Because the last time I checked, it wasn't black people who kidnapped millions across oceans. The same black people who didn't chain people onto ships like cargo. The same black people who didn't force languages, ripping tongues from throats. The same black people who did not rename, rebrand, rewrite gods. Was it us standing on a field, translucent, watching decorations on a tree? Did you know that during the Arab-Islam slave trade, they would castrate our boys and men from as young as 4 in order to raise them as eunuchs? They would kidnap little girls in order to raise them in breeding farms to produce a product that would then be taught the way of the father and sent back into the communities to create the chaos and destruction and infiltration that we see present today. Before I forget, the Trans-Afro-Asian slave trade, if you knew nothing about where bleaching trauma comes from, it's because of the Asian bleaching baths that they used to put multiple of our people in order to test chemicals on their skin. Did you know that the Indian Ocean slave trade still breathes today, as there are Shidis, Gaffers, certain tribes still existing who are forced to live in forests as we speak because they are merely not seen as human? I'm talking about 2025. Our people who were literally enslaved, taken across this. There's the ocean slave trade, and then there's the foot one. I'm talking about walking from Africa to Southeast Asia by foot. There's a museum in one of them Arabian countries where they speak about such this noble part of history to a point when there was a girl who went to go and research about it. She couldn't even stomach it. There was no way to complete the tour of the museum that gives them so much pride of the doings that they did to people who look like you and me. The same black people who are the most racist who take the cup. You know, every time I think about Shark Island, you know, the big H was actually practiced on our people in Namibia before it was done in Germany. You know, whenever I think about that, I always realize we are the survivors of the genocides that people choose to forget. There's a time in history where black people had to fight to be recognized as human. A people hunted, caged, and branded like cattle. Pisses me off too, because that's the same people who still try to find ways to forgive. That statement alone arms oppression. It tells the world, abuse them, they deserve it. It's dangerous. Basically said, look, they're savages, they're broken, they're a threat. Be me giving the system a green light to say, hey, speak. You become the reason they say, see, even their own people agree. Knowing history, that makes it easiest to pew us, to cage us, to brand us, label us aggressive, unstable, and violent, and walk away with clean hands. Because when a black person says we're the most racist, white supremacy does not argue. It celebrates. I always tell myself that the future, it exists. And that I'd be damned if history ever remembers me as a traitor with a microphone.